B2B, whereby we work together with the corporates, and we also have a B2G side of the business where we work with governments across the world to implement solutions to simplify global trade. I won't go into the details, but before I start, maybe I'll just do a very...
Trade has been a critical part of the global economy since the beginning of times. But trade processes are typically disjointed, complex, and filled with tiresome manual procedures. With limited access to reliable logistics services and trade finance, and difficulties in overcoming complex regulatory processes, small producers struggle to improve their incomes and their lives. These challenges drive our vision, Trade for Good, to make trade simpler, more efficient, and more inclusive, so everyone can be a player in global trade. Our flagship platform, Good, references the UNC Fax Buy Ship Pay model to connect every stakeholder in the trade ecosystem, and uses the power of digital technology and data to innovate and simplify processes, helping every user to seamlessly trade goods and services across our network that now covers more than 17 countries. Source of Good, our buy pillar, enables B2BE marketplaces, independent or owned, to connect to a powerful ship pay ecosystem, flowing end-to-end transactions within a single platform. Our ship pillar, Good to Go, links up custom departments of exporting and importing countries for easy digital applications of import and export permits, and payment of duties and taxes through our Camel One platform. Our national single electronic windows have been built in Cambodia and Mauritius to connect government departments for verification and approval of licenses and permits, and we have also built a single customs territory system that allows 5 of 6 East Africa community countries to act as one. With our successes, we have secured a maritime single window project in Cambodia, and we have extended our implementation in Mauritius to offer e-freight solutions. Plus, we are now endorsed by the Togolese government to implement a national-level e-certificate system. In Singapore, we now handle 19% of the total import and export permits for 7 of the world's top 10 freight forwarders. We have also partnered with Singapore's leading Chamber of Commerce, SICC, to launch the world's first blockchain-enabled electronic certificate of origin system. And we have launched Import for You, a new comprehensive IOR service that helps you manage imports into Singapore with ease. ClickCargo, a powerful new digital trade logistics platform in Indonesia, has partnered with the Indonesia government's national logistics ecosystem to ensure seamless logistics all throughout Indonesia. Connects customs, freight forwarders, cargo insurance providers, container depots, and even trucking service providers, allowing for seamless booking and tracking of logistics-related services all the way from source to destination. And it is now also available in Singapore. Finally, Finance for Good, our pay pillar, provides fast and secure financing to companies of all sizes, through a robust network of banks, investors, or alternative financing partners via our own Right platform. Our flagship product, Right TFAP, the first multi-bank trade finance application portal in Southeast Asia, aggregates more than 12 trade finance products from 10 leading trade finance banks. And the newly launched Right GST helps freight forwarders and businesses finance GST payments, freeing up their funds to allow for greater business expansion. With its huge and secure repository of trade transactions and trusted data sources, Good is able to provide trade finance facilities to reliable segments of clients, which traditional banking is often unable to serve. Reducing trade finance gaps and allowing businesses and economies to grow, Good has now established itself as a leading company in trade technology, and yet, this is only the beginning. With robust technology and a passionate, focused, and ambitious team, we want to spread good across the world. When businesses and economies grow, the lives of people will improve, and we will have created prosperity and efficiencies in the entire trade landscape. And that is our vision for Good.
Yeah, a bit of marketing there. Sorry about that. My marketing team is here, so if I don't share that, I don't get paid my salary. So thanks for bearing with me. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to share a few examples of how our solutions have helped to change some of the manual processes into something more digitalized. Caveat, we're not the only ones doing it. I think there are a lot of good software players that I've met throughout the day as well doing similar services. So this is just an example. If you like something, you can speak to us, speak to all the other partners. I think every company has things that they're very good at, and find something that suits your company's needs. Alright? So I'll look at the 3 areas of global supply chain. The first one being the compliance portion. So I'm sure some of you have done this every day. In order to do one customs declarations in Singapore, this is what the team goes through on a day-to-day basis. First thing first, you have a team who need to key in all the information into the system. You have permits which are 5 line items long. You may have permits which are 2,000 line items long. Imagine somebody in the office typing the whole thing one by one into the system. And then you need to scan, attach, and submit the documents. The third thing is, once everything is done, printed, it needs to be stored somewhere. One good example, I was speaking to a partner recently, they have 2 million document sets, which is stored in a room somewhere, which they need to digitalize and put into a central repository. So this is how manual the industry is. So again, there's a lot of data entry involved. We are probably one of the most manual industries today, still, logistics. So a lot of human entry, a lot of data entry. And again, when you have humans typing data, it leads to errors. So some things that we have tried to improve on, again, EDI integration. Today, I think 30% of our business is through EDI linkage. We work with freight forwarders, connecting to their systems, SAPs, CargoWise ones of the world. We work with the shippers as well, the likes of HPs, Infineons, Awagos of the world, through our freight forwarding partners, of course, to basically connect and integrate. And when we're able to get the data through EDI, I think it's a one-click, very minimal data entry, and we can straight away submit the declaration for customs declaration. So, second thing, again, I mentioned 30%. What about the remaining 70%? Some of our clients still send us in PDFs formats. So what we did is we spent the last 2 years, we managed to develop our OCR CMR solution to basically help the PDF side of things. So if you can, we want to do EDI integration with you. If you cannot, then we try to do the OCR portion. So PDFs comes in, gets scanned through our system. I think there's no solution today that guarantees 100% EDI conversion at every single time, because there's just so many different invoice formats. So whatever that can be converted gets converted, the remaining the team will go in and fill out manually to complete the whole equation. What happens after that? All the digitalized data is stored in a central repository. I think customs requirement today is 5 years. We store it anything between 6 to 10 years depending on customers' requirements. So by doing this, what happens is you have all your data digitalized and kept in a central repository. At any point of time, you own the data. You could request for it back to do any other business purposes. You could reuse the data for other logistics purposes. You want to do trade financing, you want to do something else, the data can be sent back to you. We're working with a few forwarders today to reuse the data for different purposes apart from this customs declaration as well. So one example from a compliance side, if you have any questions later, I'm happy to take it. Let me move on in the interest of time. I think everybody is excited for the networking session. That's the risk of being the last presenter. Let's talk about the logistics side of things, the last mile delivery. So today, based on some of the feedback that we have from our forwarders, what happens is, a trucker usually, they'll get the hard copy of the jobs, or they get an email, they'll print it out, they'll assign it to the drivers, so it's all paper-based. And then when the freight forwarder or the cargo owner, CO refers to cargo owners, the shipper themselves, if you want to know the status of your shipments, you probably have to call or email your freight forwarder or trucker to get an update. So it's all manually driven. And once the item is delivered, the driver probably will get the customer to sign on the physical copy, and it takes probably a day or two to return it back to the freight forwarder or the cargo owner. So there's a lot of delays. Manual coordination, it takes a day or two to receive the POD. If the driver makes a mistake, misplaces the documents, the whole POD is gone, and then you have to do something manually again. Alright, how we do it? We have a platform called ClickCargo that does a few of this. Number one, we have a dashboard for the cargo owner. We have a dashboard for the freight forwarder. We have a dashboard for the trucking vendor. All these respective people will be able to see the list of jobs in the system, the status, if it's completed, it comes with the POD. So it's like a one single platform, one single dashboard that you'll be able to see. By doing this, you no longer need to call your trucker or your freight forwarder constantly to get updates. Everything is recorded on the system, right? Most of the trucks that operate through our platform, the partner trucks, we will activated via GPS. So again, in your respective dashboards or your respective portals, you'll be able to see the movement of those trucks, where it is right now, how far is it away from the final destination, etc. So it helps you to anticipate, plan, etc. And of course, when the driver delivers items, no longer physical copies, there's a mobile app that's given to the drivers that they will just get the customers to sign off on. Similar to when you receive your Shopee's, Amazon shipments today, right? Very similar for the B2B side. And immediately, the moment the thing is signed off by the customer, an ePOD is sent to all the relevant parties. So if you want your shipper to receive it, you want your forwarder to receive it, you want the cargo owner to receive it, all the relevant parties would receive the ePOD notification instantly, matter of seconds. And the copy is then saved on the repository as well. So all the data documents are kept in one place, along with a copy of the POD. Right, that explains the second one. And the third area that we're looking at is, of course, the finance side of things. So today, in terms of import GST, for one example, I think the biggest challenge is, whenever a forwarder or a shipper wants to apply for financing, there is a huge amount of documents that we need to prepare to submit to the financial institutions for verification and validation. So that process is very manual and tedious. If you're an SME, I think your biggest challenge would be cash flow, because you have limited funds, you may have a lot of business opportunities. Which one do you choose? Because you cannot take everything right now. And if you're a major company where cash flow is not a problem, however, if you're handling 20 or 30 import shipments a day, you're looking at reconciling 20 or 30 either IBG deductions or manual payments that you have to make to customs. And then you have your finance team trying to sort out through all the documents and ensuring that the deductions were exactly as per what the permits mentioned. So that is a very manual and tedious task to do the reconciliation. How we solve it? We go by a concept called data-driven financing. So if traditionally trade finance is all based on balance sheet. In another word, you should not need money to want money. That's the concept today. When you go on balance sheet, the balance sheet is not strong, you don't get financing from the banks or institutions. The problem is, we have a lot of SMEs, fast-growing SMEs today, where the balance sheet may not be as strong, but they have a very good business case, they're very good businesses. So how we facilitate this is our platform Right connects the financial institutions on one side, the banks, the digital banks, the fund houses, the funding agencies, etc. And on the other side, we have the customers who need financing. And what we do data-driven financing. Basically, we use the permit data, we use the cargo data through Click Cargo, the tracking of the movements, to prove to the financial institutions that, hey, these are legit transactions. The company may be small, but that is a legit transaction. And with that data points being ticked, we have a pre-approval from the banks or institutions to basically approve those fundings. This is one example. So we use the permit and trucking data. We have a simple and fast credit assessment. And immediately once your credit has been assessed, within that limit, we will keep approving and prepaying your GSTs upfront. So this helps. Again, reconciliation is online. You don't have to do anything. At the end of the month, you'll receive an invoice for all the services that's done for you. And there'll be a report of all the permits that was declared. You just have to validate those two and you're done. You don't have to spend hours every day doing this. Alright, I will not go through the details of it. I think it's quite self-explanatory. Alright, so let me just combine all that three into a very quick cross-border scenario. So, assuming you're digitalized today, this is how a perfect scenario example, somebody wants to ship something from Malaysia to Singapore. What happens is, as a cargo owner or a freight forwarder, you'd probably assign the jobs to your trucking vendor, and the trucking vendor, via our platform, would assign those jobs to his driver. And the moment that job is assigned, the driver will be able to see the job on his mobile app, saying that, hey, you've got a job for tomorrow from JB to maybe Changi, for example. What happens next? Because it's a cross-border shipment, there'll be a notification to our declaration team to click in order to proceed with the import permit declaration. All the relevant documents would be transferred electronically into our portal. the team would apply for the import permits, and assuming you're under the financing program, the GSTs will also be made on your behalf immediately. So the permit gets approved. What happens next? Because you're Click Cargo, you'll be able to see the movement of your goods. So if you're a cargo owner and you want to know, hey, where exactly is the goods right now, it will tell you exactly where it is. Has it passed by Malaysian customs yet? Okay, it has, and now it's en route to Singapore. All this data is available in real time, and all the relevant stakeholders will be able to see it. And finally, when the items is delivered, a POD is generated, and everybody gets a copy of it. I'm just simplifying it. Of course, technically, in terms of integration, blah, 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 it's a bit more complex, but I don't want to put you guys to sleep right now. So I'm just trying to keep it as simple and as easy as possible. All right, so the second part of our discussion was sustainability. So how does digitalization help sustainability? First example, from a Click Cargo perspective, you know today that when the trucks are not monitored, there are a lot of extra trips being made either by the drivers or they take different routes, etc. Number one, it's a loss to the company. If you're a trucking company, you're a freight forwarder, you want to ensure that every trip is going to bring revenue to your organization. So with this visibility, when you are monitoring the trucks, I think you reduce the risk of the trucks being misused for other purposes. And when you control the movement of the trucks, you automatically reduce unnecessary carbon footprint and pollution. I think number two, in Click Cargo as well, I think what we've done very, very recently with one of our partners, I think Mr. Gino was here from DSV, we're also exploring the option of electric vehicles. So I think that's something new, something very sexy, something that the shippers are looking for. So Click Cargo is also connecting some of the requirements in terms of EVs as well today. So that also kind of helps with that initiative. Next, paper. Just to give you an example, today we process about 100 to 120,000 permits a month, which is about 90 to 20% of Singapore's monthly volume. By doing it manually before, it takes us about 1.5 tons of paper every month to complete that 120,000 permits. That's the amount of paper that we've been using. And over the years, we have digitalized about 30%. It's still an ongoing process, to be honest. It's never going to be 100% that fast. And by reducing that 30%, we have saved 0.5 tons. I know it's not great, but again, from 1.5 down to 1, I think it makes a big difference. And if we can make our freight forwarding partners and our shippers to digitalize even more, I think we'll keep bringing that down. But just to give you an example, we're still printing about 1 ton of paper every month. Unnecessary. It's just because we cannot receive the documents in a digital format from our partners today. And we hope to be able to do that very soon. The third one again is, I think sustainability is not all about environment, right? It's all about people as well. So we always feel that by digitalizing some of the business processes, we can upskill our people for better tasks. It's never always about, hey, the moment you digitalize, we can reduce free manpower. I think we don't believe in that. What we want to do is we want to move the people to do higher value tasks. So again, by doing so, hopefully, we can upskill the employees, we can get them to do something better, and they can grow their careers as well. So these are the 3 simple examples I'm trying to put on in terms of sustainability, how digitalization helps sustainability. And I'm done for the day. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just try to keep it very simple. But if you want to have an in-depth discussion, you want to know more about how things are actually done, the team is here. I'm here. We're happy to speak to you even today or another time at your convenience, and we'll see how we can help. But again, there's many other players here as well. I think everybody is doing a great job in helping digitalization. So, any questions that I can help with?
I saw the interesting thing you were doing in Africa. So, maybe you can share a bit more about that. Just curious.
Yeah, so we have this project. Okay, we have a few projects in Africa. We have e-marketplaces in Togo, where we help the commodity traders to digitalize their transactions, where we connect buyers and sellers, etc. But the most interesting one is actually the SET-EAC project, where we help the East African countries. I don't have the details with me, but basically it's 5 countries. Out of the 5, 3 is landlocked. So it used to take 21 days to get items from the port to the final destination because you have to do multiple import exports. What we did was we actually developed an umbrella system that if a declaration is done in one of the ports, the data is shared throughout. And we have reduced the time from 21 days to now 4 days to complete the whole import clearance. So basically just seeing the needs of the local market and then simplifying it. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. You have a question?
Many questions, but they also require a bit more deeper discussions maybe.
Yeah.
Now, what are you, also the same question to you than the previous speaker. What are the challenges, what you see, no, what do the shippers need to do to come up to speed, to get into the ecosystem, to get the connectivity? Obviously it's there, but as you said, still 80% goes manual in a certain way. From your observation, dealing with across the region, over the globe, what are the key issues why the transformation is not as fast as it's supposed to be?
Okay. Very good question. I think the biggest issue is everybody is just busy with what makes sense for them. So, for example, today, we are a tech company. It's not difficult for us to digitalize as long as we get the documents in a machine-readable format. We're able to help you to digitalize. But then again, sometimes when we speak to the forwarders, the answer is, hey, my shipper is giving it to me in a PDF format. And then when you go to the shipper side, and again, from a forwarder perspective, what's the motivation for the relevant salesperson or the operations person in that forwarding organization to push the customers to give it to them in a digital format? Because sometimes asking too much from the customer is also going to antagonize them. So they may not want to make the customers unhappy. And then when you go to the customer side, the shipper side, the logic is, hey, I'm paying you this amount, I'm giving it to you in PDF, get it done for me. So I think it's just attitude, mentality. But to be honest, COVID helped a lot. I think COVID really helped in digitalization because people didn't have a choice. You are all remote right now, so they had to explore. So our adoption of digitalization grew a lot through COVID, and we are hoping that that momentum will continue. I see more and more people talking about sustainability, talking about digitalization, and yeah, hoping that year on year, we will grow from 30, 50, 70, and eventually 100%.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys.